listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Good evening. I should have been watching the Arizona-Kansas game like a good Texas Tech fan, but instead I was watching the U.S. versus Italy curling
How we doing?
competition as a good American. And brother, U.S. won. They won by one. I don't know how this works exactly, but it was.
I learned tonight how scoring works.
Well, I don't know what any of it's called, but it's basically 8 sets or 8 mini games or whatever you want to call it. And then at the end of that, whoever has the most points totaled up from each set wins. And the U.S. beat Italy 9-8 and are headed to the gold medal game. So they will medal either way. And I believe that's at noon Eastern tomorrow for those of you able to pull up the Peacock on your browser, your handheld, your Switch, whatever they're on, your PlayStation View, your Nintendo 64. So anyway, Arizona is leading 45-42 at half. That's about all I know about that game.
That's a lot of points.
That is a lot of points. And is Kansas back, folks?
They're doing it without
Darren
Peterson, right?
Ooh.
I thought I saw that on the ESPN notification that he was unavailable with an illness.
Oh, man, I wonder what it could be. It could be anything. That guy just has the worst luck. Let's see. Yes, he has not played. They have gone with an eight-man rotation, including a couple of guys who have played 2 minutes so far.
Arizona, all 5 starters are in double figures. And the lowest scoring is 12. You got 12, 2 16s, a 17, and an 18. I got 3 guys off the bench, 5, 8, and 9 points.
I'm not sure how this is working. So Arizona has 51% field goals overall, 50% from 3.
I'm stupid. Those are minutes.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, that adds up to
That's
way
a lot
more
of double
than
digits, man.
They do have a double-digit score. He's got 12. Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's why all the starters have so many of those numbers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so stupid. 51% from the field, 50% from 3. Now they're 4 of 8. Kansas is 43% from the field and 44. They're 4 of 9.
Yeah, I just trying to get the story based off the stats. Arizona is out rebounding Kansas by 9, 26-17. So that's probably a gigantic difference maker there. Turnovers are very close. It's +2 to Arizona there. I'm sorry if I said Arizona State earlier.
There's only one foul difference, so
yeah. I would put the game on, but I'm, as always, concerned about bandwidth here at 23 Personnel West. So North. I felt like I'm up in the plains, the Great Plains.
Speaking of geography, it's a good segue, Michael. You're setting us up. We're going to talk about the NBA a little bit later tonight. Because Michael and I, within the span of 3 days, will have attended a basketball game that features all 3 Texas teams. And when I was looking at it, because I was looking at the standings, because I was trying to familiarize, I don't know anything about Boston Rockets this year. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, they've got Kevin Durant on their roster, and apparently he's doing really well the past 10 games, like averaging like 27 points a game. I was like, oh, well, I know him. I've seen him play. Back when he played for Texas.
Dude can ball.
Yeah. And then it was just like, I look at the standings, like the Southwest Division. I was like, since when do they have divisions? And it just, you can tell I'm not really a big NBA follower fan. But then I was looking at like who was in the Southwest Division. I was like, New Orleans, Memphis. Okay, so I have some proposed realignment shakeup to make
why
it make
not?
sense, because
You've
that's what the NBA needs is a non-fan to come in and like this is not how this is going to work.
you guys are doing this right.
This is wrong.
Let me
Just like-
let me shed some knowledge on you.
Just like how I would move the Cowboys out of the NFC East.
I was heading that direction because I know that's your other pet peeve is the Cowboys in the NFC East.
I mean, just
Which
because
I agree with
history.
you somehow getting the Saints and the Cowboys in the same division.
And the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Just
It
put them in the
makes sense.
South. And then
Yep.
put the Panthers in the East.
Travel makes more sense too, not that it really matters in the pro level.
No, it doesn't geographically really have to matter. But like if you're going to name the divisions for geographic regions, that has to make sense. Memphis being in the Southwest does not make sense. We'll get there. Super Bowl was last night, Michael. I want to get your thoughts on that. 3 parts: the game itself, the ads, and halftime. And I'm not trying to rage bait anybody or bait you in a discussion about anything that people want to get all fired up about halftime. I want your thoughts. I had a very specific thought about like as I was watching it on the TV, I was like, man, this must be terrible to watch in the stadium. Like we were like blessed. We were lucky enough to have a camera following him through the maze. But like from the stadium, it was like that had to be like very underwhelming to watch. We'll get there. Basketball. They won a game. Back on the winning side of things. Hooray. Softball team, undefeated, number 1, looks it. Tearing people apart left and right. Love to see it. Baseball first pitches this weekend. You did the deep dive and the research into what it's going to cost you to watch the first couple of games, and it's not cheap.
It's hefty.
I have no other football besides well, actually, there was a staff announcement earlier, which we can throw in here. Questions that want to be learned. I'm going to be hefty this part of the season, so buckle up. Okay, bounce back Super Bowl. As not a fan of either of these teams, and not having like a rooting interest, not that like there was like a Red Raider on these rosters. I looked on both sides. The closest I could find was Kobe Minor, who started at Texas Tech. Sorry, he started his career at Texas Tech before transferring to Memphis. And he played for the Patriots last night. I don't know if he played last night or I didn't see it. I was back and forth with running around with the house with kids, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't like glued, locked in. Having said that, the game kind of sucked until the end. If you're a fan of the Seahawks and defense, sure, you probably loved it. If this was a Texas Tech, like this very much reminded me of a Texas Tech game where it was like Texas Tech BYU first game, like in November.
I thought you were going to say Tech Oregon.
No. Texas Tech BYU.
Like, I don't want to talk about that one.
Where it was like, or even like Texas Tech on the road against Houston, where it was just a bunch of field goals to start the game. Defense was keeping, the Patriots, Houston off the board. They scored, but then you responded back. So, like, there was that aspect where, like, it was similar to a few games Texas Tech fans had watched and partaken this season. But, I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been like 9-3. I mean, you didn't have that. You had a defensive score there at the end that was kind of interesting. But the game itself was underwhelming to me. What were your thoughts on the game matchup on the field?
Yeah, I felt the same. Of course, it didn't hurt my feelings to my core as much as Kansas City losing 31-9 a few years ago, where Mahomes just
Was that last year?
no, no, they won last year and the year before, but the 31-9 was like 3 or 4 years ago. They've been in quite a few Super Bowls.
No, I thought they played last year against the Eagles, and that was the thing. Like if like that's how the Texas Tech wanted to build their defense along the defensive line, or start with the defensive line. Like we saw how it worked with the Eagles. I thought that was last season.
Uh,
Am I
well,
making
it
this
may have
up?
been, but the game was better. You're right. It was the Eagles last year. The game was better last year, though. The 31-9 one's the one that I remember where he was just running for his life the entire time, and I think he threw that pass where he was parallel to the ground because he
Who was that
was
against?
San Francisco. No, Tampa Bay.
Was it against Brady?
I think yeah, it was definitely Brady. So
Okay, yeah.
that was a tough one. The Denver Broncos one that was really bad. I think it was Manning's first one as a Bronco. I think it was 41 to something. I don't know. But yeah, this was up there with those three as far as quality of game, entertaining aspect of it. As you already mentioned, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're just thrilled because there was no time you were ever really sweating it. That I guess the Pats had a chance there towards the end where they put a drive together and had the onside opportunity coming, but they were just down by multiple scores even after they scored. So it was just never probably really anything to worry about.
I think it was 16.
Uh,
They were down 16,
mm-hmm.
but they needed 2 scores, two extra points, and 2 onside recovery. Like it was, and like 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but they were so far out of it.
Yeah.
Like
So
they couldn't move the ball.
no, and May looked off. I'm not sure. I can think specifically of 2 wide open receivers, and I'm sure it was more than that, but 2 that were just glaringly wide open that he completely missed. So I'm not really sure what to make of all that, but hey, Seahawks won another one. Yay. Really, really happy for them. Big fan. I don't know what my camera's doing. I hope everything keeps working. It's probably going to switch to my laptop one. As long as you can still hear my nasally drone, that's, I guess, all that matters. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Your
Okay.
camera is officially frozen.
Yeah, that's good. That's fine. You know what I look like.
Wait, did we just lose Michael
Oh,
completely?
I'm still here. Can
Oh,
you hear me?
okay. Yeah, I can hear you. um,
I had just finished my thought. That was all.
okay. Yeah. So the game, it could have been better. It definitely wasn't the worst, but not having a dog in the fight was strange. It had been the first time in several years I honestly really couldn't care less who won this game. I had the like I didn't really want the Patriots to win, but like it wasn't Belichick, it wasn't Brady, like completely different not program, but like organization. Since all that had moved on, we'll see if Michael's able to join back. He officially got kicked out. Seahawks, I remember liking them a little bit more and a couple of years ago, but again, without any Red Raiders on the roster, I was just like, it wasn't really a big pull. Now that Michael's back, you already talked about the ads.
Yes, I had
you keyed into the ads.
a little bit. Not, when you're at a Super Bowl party, it's kind of you miss quite a few things, but I think I got to focus more on the second half, I guess is how you could say it. But I liked the Duncan's ad, as weird and kind of bizarre as that was with Affleck and Ted Danson and everybody. Um, I'm really looking forward to that Cliff Booth movie / show or whatever it is going to be on Netflix based on Brad Pitt's character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was cool. I hadn't seen the preview for that. I kind of forgot that was coming.
I think I missed that one.
Project Hail Mary. I read the book over the summer, I believe.
It's a
Movie looks
space movie?
incredible. Yes.
Yeah,
Science
okay.
fiction.
With
Same guy that wrote The Martian. And I don't want to say similar story, but yeah, kind of a similar story. I mean, also completely different, but kind of similar. It's hard to say. It's hard to explain it without giving stuff away. But I've been really impressed with everything I've seen about that movie because so much of what I had pictured in my head is exactly what they're putting on the screen. And so that's kind of bizarre to see that, especially in a science fiction movie, you know. And then the other one, the wild card that I got a kick out of because I appreciated the public service announcement aspect of it. Oh man, it's doing it again.
Yeah.
Ugh. If it makes me restart, I'll switch to my other camera because I don't know what's happening. The prostate cancer one. Did you see that one? About the tight ends, relaxed tight ends.
No, that's hilarious already. But no, I don't remember that one.
Well, because I realized later it's like a pharmaceutical thing. Okay, fine, we can all put on our tinfoil hats, but whoever it was partnered with the NFL, and they have a way to take a blood sample to check for possible prostate cancer as opposed to other forms of examinations. And so the whole gist of it was yes. So the whole gist of it was showing all these relaxed tight ends, like football players in full pads. Like Gonzalez was like petting a bird, and someone was like at a massage table, and Gronk was like slowly brushing a horse in a stable. Like, so anyway, it was I enjoyed that, and then it was narrated and kind of emceed basically by a coach who was a prostate cancer survivor. So there was some. Anyway, that was one that I thought, man, that's getting out like 5 messages at once. That's pretty good, and it was funny and it was very memorable. So I liked it.
Yeah, one of the ones that you haven't mentioned that stuck out to me was the Xfinity Jurassic Park commercial.
Oh yeah.
Like what would have happened had they had the park been on Xfinity, and they had like the system came right back up, and they were like taking selfies with the T-Rex, and what's her face was jogging along one of the cart paths, and they had, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Anyways, it was like what would have happened. And then the Xfinity guy getting into his van, and they had that dinosaur that ended up spraying the other guy that was trying to steal everything. He's like, nope, and gets out of the van and walks away. I thought it was very well done. I've heard a lot of criticism that like it was so much AI, not even like AI generated, because there was obviously some of that. I mean, there was a large chunk of the Xfinity Jurassic Park commercial. The one that Michael was referencing earlier with the Ted Danson and that one where they were aged, back in their prime, where their roles that they were cameoing in that commercial. But also just like nonsensical AI platforms or services that like you didn't really understand what they were trying to sell or what they're trying to advertise. And I heard a lot of people complaining like there's so little of the ads that actually had to deal with things that you could purchase in a store. I was like, but hold on a second, like you must have missed like the Doritos, not the Doritos, the Pringles, the Lay's, the Michelob, the Budweiser, the Bud Light. Like there was a lot of consumable ads there. Like they were just, they were put off by how many software or AI based commercials there were. Like the one from Matthew Broderick too is like what even is he trying to sell, or what's the point there? So it's like, I mean, you saw what you wanted to see, right? There were a lot of traditional consumer ads, and then a lot of services and platforms that like that's kind of cool. Depending on your stance on AI. Um, anyways, it's always somewhere in the middle, right? Like it wasn't like hit you over the top, like go buy these things. It wasn't the Volkswagen commercial with Darth Vader and and the little kid, or the Doritos or Taco Bell or anything like that. That we're kind of grew up having that shock value. I do think like the shock value of some of the Super Bowl ads was kind of toned down a little bit. Um, but I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's trending anyway. Is the I don't really take a lot of stock into the criticism of, well, this is not stuff you can buy in a store. Well, this is how it's been for years. I mean, Rocket Mortgage. You going to go to the store and pick out a Rocket Mortgage? No. I mean, crypto was a big thing a few years back. That's kind of
Mhm.
crapped the bed as far as advertising and all that kind of stuff. So you saw that
Notice
before.
Michael dropping in keywords here into the episode to get the SEO, the engines humming along to get us back in everybody's feeds. And
Yeah, we've got a really mining, Bitcoin, blockchain, whatever else I can throw in there, cryptocurrency. Just get the whole word out there. But I don't see a big deal with it. I mean, it is annoying knowing that every year you're going to get HR Block and Intuit TurboTax or whatever because it's tax season. You
it's
just
such
know
a
you're going to
ripoff
get
too.
those. Yeah, you just know you're going to
Just
get them, and you're like, well, whatever. We'll deal with it.
PSA for those that don't have a complicated tax return. There are free services out there, legitimate free services. There are also like the mom and pop like CPAs that can definitely help you out. It will probably still be more economical than going with Intuit, Tax Act, TurboTax. And you won't have to deal with the upsell every 2 clicks. Well, you're on this platform. Do you want to consider going to Max Program Protect Audit Defense? It's only $69 more. And then on the next screen,
Prevent defense blitz cover 2.
yeah, it's ridiculous. We have filed our taxes and we are expecting our return here in a few weeks. Cha-ching. Which
There you
always
go.
like it's wonderful, but then I was like, that means I've been overpaying my tax. My take home checks have been too small, and I don't know how to balance this out. Like I've done the deductions I thought properly. We've got it. I've got it where I'm obviously an income earner. My wife is an income earner. We have standard deductions. We file jointly married. We have the children dependents claimed, and still like it's fine. It's whatever. I'd rather get a return than have to owe taxes. But all right, halftime. Um, again, so like if you were watching it, it was probably a lot more enjoyable than if you were in the stadium. If you understood Spanish, probably a lot more enjoyable. The musical performance. I'm not familiar with Bad Bunny, so like as weird as it sounds, like I wasn't really all that familiar with Kendrick Lamar before last Super Bowl. But being that there was like I was still able to understand what he was saying and then pick up on the storyline and have that like follow up the next day. It's like, oh, what was all this stuff? Like there were all these messages and things that were in the show like that added to figuring out more about who he was and what everything was going on. Um, I've seen some translations and people talking about what the show, what he was singing about and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm sure he has fans. I'm just not one of them. And you know what? That's okay. Because I'm one of 340 million. What my opinion is on the halftime show artist matters very little. And there are too many opinions and tastes to try to cater to everyone. So this year wasn't for me, and that's okay.
That's a grown-up way to look at it. I applaud that because I did not watch the halftime show. I refused. No, I'm just kidding. What happened was we were at a friend's house that's in New Home, and so that's a pretty good drive from here. And out of courtesy and respect for them, we all have smaller children. Them especially, they have a couple of one little one, pretty little one. So we left at halftime. Uh, there were quite a few of us there, and that way they could have their house back and get ready for bedtime and all that kind of stuff. So no, not on purpose. I completely missed the halftime show. I got back at home, put on the TV, and it was 14:45 left in the third. I truly meant to go watch it when I, at some point, but had work today. Just I haven't yet. So I'm not avoiding it, but I don't have anything to add aside from I appreciate the ability to recognize sometimes stuff's just not for us, and that's okay.
The one thing I thought was fairly interesting was the set. Very elaborate on-field setup. Like it wasn't just they wheeled out a large stage or they had a 1,000 on-field performers and dancers and whatever. They had a fairly detailed set. It was good size. It wasn't massive. They had like a structure, a house type of structure. They had I guess sugarcane field. And having not seen it set up or broken down till today, the day after, I was like, I wonder how they did that so quickly. Those sugarcane plants, Michael, were people.
I know. See, like
I didn't
that's
know
what's
that
killing
till
me.
afterwards.
That's what's killing me is I really want to watch it, and I may just truly enjoy myself. I have no idea, but they would just I've seen bits and pieces in my Twitter feed, and like, and the same people are making the same revelation, and I thought they were. This is how I thought this was like from 3 days ago during the Olympic ceremony or something. Because they had no context. It just like all the trees were people, and I'm thinking, oh well, this looks like some crazy thing they probably did for the Olympics opening ceremony. I didn't even think about it being from last night. I even heard that he climbed a power pole or something at some point, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
I got to see what that's about. Obviously, that is my sort of tangential to my line of work. I'm kind of curious
It is
about that.
like they were dancers on a power pole, and then like he got up on one again because 98% of his show was in Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish. I don't understand it. Like, I didn't know if it was applicable to what he was singing about. I don't think it was, but
Well, I've
added interest for Michael. So
right, yeah, I will absolutely go check it out. I'm truly not. Yeah, I wasn't switching over to Turning Point or anything like that. I was just driving my
I didn't
family
even know
home.
that was a thing.
Oh my gosh, how awkward. But I feel like I don't really have a strong opinion on much of the Super Bowl halftime shows of the last several years, except for the weekends. That one was the one that was
I enjoyed
I
that one.
I probably see, and I went in not really knowing his music that much, but it was just kind of, and it was during COVID, so there's that too. I mean, he probably was limited in what he could actually do. So that was one of the few that I kind of thought, well, I don't know. The
That was
rest of them have I've found something I really liked about them.
I guess the past few sets have been very elaborate, like the actual physical
Mhm.
sets on field. That one I think was the first one. I was like, this is like, it's not just a big stage. Like he was in and out of like a house of mirrors and the
Yeah.
weekend. And I going in, I knew his music. So again, I had that bass line. And so we started singing. I was like, I was familiar with it. I was enjoying that aspect also to the performance. I enjoyed the huge group performance. I guess it was 3 Super Bowls ago now.
Oh, man.
Mary J. Blige, Eminem, Snoop, that group.
Yes.
I mentioned earlier I wasn't familiar with Kendrick Lamar. His was more like figuring out what all the little tiny digs were that were embedded
Yeah.
into his show after the fact. I wasn't familiar with that. Anyways, for somebody that like for us that didn't have strong feelings about either or any of the game ads or halftime, we've talked 30 minutes on it.
The most about the halftime, yeah. It just generates the easiest and most comments. Okay, we're good.
All right, Texas Tech basketball.
Especially for a guy who didn't watch it. I didn't even watch it. So I've got to. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, I was gonna say let's move on to Texas Tech basketball. Words are hard. All right. So they bounced back from losing to UCF, dropping a heartbreaker to Kansas, to then coming. I say coming back home. They weren't. They were on the road in West Virginia, hours before the Super Bowl, and take down the Mountaineers. 70-63. It was a projected 70-65 win by Haslametrics. So go ahead and chalk that one into the column. Like, yeah, see, you should follow Haslametrics. He knows what he's doing. Back on the winning side, you're gonna need to like these games, this little stretch. I say stretch here. The back half of the schedule has a handful of winnable games, and then a good number of very difficult games. You need these winnable games. You needed UCF. You needed West Virginia, Colorado on Wednesday. You'll be at Arizona Saturday. It's going to be difficult. And then still there in Arizona on Tuesday the 17th. If you can get a road win at Arizona State, absolutely could take that one. Because with these losses, you've dropped back into fifth place in the conference, and the way that the schedule sets up, it's going to be very difficult to get back into the conference title race. I don't know how much you value a regular season title versus a conference tournament title. It would be weird to me if you go back to the football season and say that Texas Tech was the Big 12 conference champion as finishing number 1 in the standings, and then went into the conference title game and lost, and then BYU was a conference title, like having a dual. That makes no sense. I think the winner of the postseason determinant of your champion is a champion. I don't really buy into the regular season versus tournament. I think you need to pick one for basketball or for any of it. I think it's the tournament. However, it's very difficult to stack up a tournament win and then roll that over into the big dance, especially with the way that Texas Tech's roster is and your rotation. As a Power 4 or whatever you consider the Big 12 in basketball, you don't need to win the tournament to make it into the NCAA tournament. So there's not a whole lot of weight on that. You're going to do, most years you're going to do well enough, hopefully, to make it into the tournament without having to win your Big 12 tournament. How many more times can I say tournament? So anyways, I've got some work to do to get back into pushing your way up into the conference standings. Accomplished some of that this weekend versus West Virginia. Got another shot on Wednesday versus Colorado. Back at home, Haslametrics has you as a healthy 14-point favorite. Remember last time you played them in Boulder, you had a 25-point lead and it got down. I believe they tied it, right?
I don't remember if they tied it or not, but it was definitely within 2.
It got clinchy.
Your tight ends were not relaxed
No.
At the end of that game in Boulder.
But definitely any kind of momentum you can build to get looking ahead to the game this weekend at Arizona. That game is ongoing currently. Michael, you just dropped the link in there. What's it looking like?
It is close. It is snug.
With about 10 minutes to go, Arizona is up 3, 64-61. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Rankings wise, Arizona has stayed number 1. Houston has made a huge jump from 8 up to 3. They leaped over Iowa State, who's now 5. They moved up from 7. Kansas moved up a couple of spots, 11 to 9. Texas Tech dropped back a few spots, 13 to 16. And as you continue to be ranked, you will continue to extend your program record of AP appearances. Now you're up to 23.
That's a very, very good number.
I think we both have it on our heads. BYU moved from 16 to 22. They dropped. And then nobody else in the Big 12 is receiving votes. UCF dropped out of that area. Big Monday. Kansas playing on Monday, back-to-back weeks. They had Texas Tech last week and Arizona this week. So, yeah. The women, they're on back in their winning ways. They
took care of Houston.
Saturday, yeah, I mean, not a great Houston team, 1-9 in Big 12 play, but you beat them and you beat them bad, and that's what you hope to do. 85-61 on Saturday versus Houston.
Yeah, and it was a Houston team that the Lady Raiders kind of struggled against at home. So I didn't really want to take that for granted going into Houston. But, man, they just dominated them pretty much the whole game. That they tied in the third quarter, but the rest of the quarters, 21-12, 23-16, 26-18. Maupin had 25 points. Bristow Bristow bounced back. We haven't seen this from her in a while. She was 6 of 8 from the field, including 2 of 4 from 3, had 15 points, 4 blocks. Goodness gracious. Hima Nunez, 13 points. That's a huge amount of production from her, 5 of 12 from the field. So good to see them bounce back a little bit. I know they haven't been as featured as much in the score column, at least lately. But yeah, like you said, kind of one of those games where you should take care of business, and they did. I don't think it ever seemed close. And heading on to hosting Kansas tomorrow night. I don't want to say it should be similar, but this is a winnable game. I'll say that. Kansas is 15-10 on the season, 5-8 in Big 12 play, and they are coming to Lubbock. So this should be a game that the Lady Raiders can take care of before they head into Stillwater, Oklahoma State for a really tricky game against the Cowgirls. Cowgirls? Are they called the Cowgirls? They're not the Lady Cowboys, are they? That'd be weird.
They can't.
Okay.
As someone who didn't watch the game, I'm looking at the box score. There are a couple of things that caught my eye. You shot dang well from the free throw line, 18 of 22. You weren't bad from the 3, 11 of 25. You had 21 turnovers, which feels like a lot, but you forced 32.
Oof.
And then you had 17 steals. I mean, had a pretty good night.
That's a bounce back. That's a get right game. That's a game after having 6 days of rest. Good. That felt great. And so, a winnable game at home versus Kansas, and then on the road to Stillwater against a 19-6 Oklahoma State team, 8-4 in the Big 12. So, Tech being 9-3 in the Big 12, they're just right behind you. And that game will be at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. They're doing the bus thing again. If you're a local, for I forget what it is, it's like $120. You can ride the bus. You'll get 2 meals. You'll get ticket to the game. They bring you home. Done and done. So if you're able to do that on Saturday, celebrate Valentine's Day in a unique way up in Stillwater.
On the bus on the way back, we're having a brown bag lunch on the bus, sweetheart.
You bet. We've got some. I brought some pocket champagne. We're gonna pop that. But as we cross that Red River, we'll pop the champagne. But anyway,
back into the great state. Here we go.
Yes. Pretty excited to see some more Lady Raider games and see how they do in these next 2 before taking on Baylor at home next Wednesday, the 18th. Another big game. The last not quite as similar to the men, but close. One of the last ranked opportunities that they will have is this game on the 18th versus Baylor, and that's like I said, at home, 6 p.m. ESPN Plus. I'm assuming and hoping that maybe by then it will not be on just the Plus. Maybe it'll be like number 11 Texas Tech versus number 10 Baylor or whatever, and they'll bump it up into the linear television. But yeah, your Lady Raiders are tied for third in the conference with TCU, which they would technically have the tiebreaker over, although there's still a lot left before we have to go into that. As mentioned, Baylor's number 12. Tech went from 18 to 16, jumped up a little bit this week. TCU went from 14 to 17. West Virginia kind of hanging around that same spot, went from 20 to 19. Iowa State is receiving votes. So yeah, 22-3, your Lady Raiders.
Pretty good.
That'll work.
Kansas on a little 6-0 run to take the lead. 8 minutes to go, 67-64.
That sounds familiar. Little 6-0 run to take the lead.
Well,
hurtful.
At least Arizona's got 8 minutes to bounce back from it, and not like end of game.
They've already scored more than we did in that game, by the way.
Yeah,
I think
because it was 70-61. No, 70. I don't know.
No, it was by 2 or something, wasn't it? By 3, 63-60, something like that.
It
doesn't matter.
Softball.
It was an L.
Another female athletic squad on the Red Raider Texas Tech campus, off to a hot start, 6-0. Only one game has not been a run rule. 12 home runs as a team in the 6 games. Mia Williams has 3. Naja Kennedy doing Kennedy things. I think her started the season with a grand slam. I mean, it's unbelievable what she's doing. Last Thursday versus McNeese State, they won 13-3 and 5. Took down North Texas. Yeah.
Real quick on McNeese State, that was the only one I got to watch a little bit of. I think, and I'm not sure if I'm exaggerating here, I'm fairly certain Texas Tech was up 8-0, and the pitcher had pitched 7 pitches. Something like that.
I was watching
they were on their 3rd pitcher by the 2nd inning. They swapped, I think, either in the 1st or 2nd, and I know that it was rough outing for McNeese State.
Yeah, so it started off with 3 run rules. McNeese State, North Texas, ULM. Then on Saturday they came to Texas A&M. They won that one 3-2. It's the only non-run rule shortened game so far. I watched the highlights of this game. Kennedy pitched the whole game. I think she finished with like 70 pitches. She was unbelievably efficient and going. The complete game is not unusual in softball, but to do it averaging 10 pitches an inning on the road versus a top 10, top 15 program. I think they were 11 maybe, A&M, and to do it in 70 pitches, unbelievable. And then you go 13-1 versus Providence and 12-0 versus Bryant. They get a couple of days off to rest, travel. They drove back, or they traveled back from College Station, and they're heading out to Florida to take on Florida State, Northwestern, FAU, NC State, James Madison, and Nebraska between Thursday and Sunday this weekend. You can watch all of those games with the exception of, you can watch Florida State on ESPN2 and Nebraska, the last game on Sunday on ESPN. The other 4 between those 2 will be on ESPN Plus. And then they get another couple of days off and they go another huge weekend, full weekend of 6 games starting Thursday through next Sunday. This will be on Flow. They get Fresno State. This will be in the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic in Cathedral City, California. That's a mouthful. Thursday versus Fresno State, Team Japan, Bethune-Cookman, Cal State Fullerton, San Diego State, and UC Riverside.
Yep. And I think you mentioned it, but the Mary Nutter Collegiate is all on Flow College.
Flow. Which we'll get to in a second because
yes,
the men's start to their season will be on Flow. So men will start this weekend. It's
here, man.
It's here. I should have had some kind of preseason stuff ready for you. I don't. I'm going out of town for a couple days, and it's thrown us off a little bit early this week. But baseball season's here. Softball season's already started. Obviously 6-0. Baseball starts this Friday. OU, Vandy, Arkansas, and the Shriners Children's College Showdown in Arlington. Those would be on Flow. Then they'll be down in my neck in the woods versus UTRGV on Tuesday the 17th. You can watch that one on ESPN Plus. And then their home series, home opener versus Albany Friday, doubleheader on Saturday, and game 4 on Sunday. Those will all also be on ESPN Plus. And then the following weekend, Cal State Bakersfield, ESPN Plus, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you want to watch the Flow, Michael, they're
pony up.
They're going to get you for the month, which really they understand. Like when they put a weekend series on, like they're not selling it for a week or for a game. They're selling it for a month. For the month, it's $20.
Right, but the good news is if you're a true stickball sicko, you would get to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 softball games and 3 baseball games.
Oh, Texas Tech games.
Yes, I'm sorry. There's probably a lot more than just that. Yes. To clarify. So 9 Texas Tech games for $19.99 plus tax, plus applicable tax. If you counter it that way and you know that you'll actually be able to sit and watch all of that, which kudos to you for not having anything else going ever.
Or taking it with you.
Right. Really, really happy that you could just hop on at 11 a.m. on Friday and watch some OU baseball versus Texas Tech. But I think it seems like it would be worth it. Once you divide it by number of games, you're talking $2-ish a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's less than going. It's for sure.
Cheaper than getting a hot dog at one of those games.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that's what they should charge for the hot dogs that I get at some of those games.
The dollar hot dog nights at the ballparks, where those were like you were getting $1 hot dog and a smushed bun.
I'm not above it. I am not above it.
No, I would go to those games with my brother and see like how many of these bad boys can we put away, and not like gluttonous, but like
that was before the 9-inning challenge. You guys, that was just like a part of a doubleheader for y'all.
We're going to get our money's worth of cheap hot dogs. We probably did 5, 6 easy. On top of like other, like we'd get sodas and
Oh yeah, that was just like
that
was just the main course. You still had the sides and the dessert.
Anyways, stickball, softball, great game versus A&M, and then doing what they should be doing against everybody else. Baseball will be here this weekend. Football, and there's anything else on the baseball, softball side you wanted to touch on?
No, I'm ready to roll.
All right. Football recently announced the hire of a associate director of scouting in Freddie Johnson. He's coming over from the Legacy School of Sports Sciences, where he was named their head coach in December. So that's all I got for him. I don't know anything about that school or that program. May or may not be shutting down the football program. I also saw those rumors on the Discord, but You know,
Say what?
You can't really have too many connections on the personnel scouting side of things, especially with ties into the DFW area. So that's
I'm
all.
good
I
with it.
don't have any other additional research because I saw that late this afternoon. All right. We have a healthy round of questions, and what do we learn? So, questions. Kind of mentioned it a couple times. Valentine's Day this weekend, Michael. Got any plans?
I do actually, and just solidified them today. So Friday night, um, our little one will be with my mom. So we are going to. There's a trivia out at English Newsom Winery. We will be there.
I've never heard of that. Is it new?
It used to be Caprock Winery.
Name
They
change.
just new owners. Well, relatively new, and so we're gonna do that Friday night. But and this is something I've kind of enjoyed since becoming a dad. It seems like most of our Valentine's days kind of revolve around the three of us doing something fun together. Lions Club Pancake Festival, brother. That's Saturday. That's our Valentine's Day plan. Gonna pick up the little one from mom's house, and we're gonna go get some. Gonna stand in a really long line. We're gonna smell like smoke and batter for the rest of the day, but it's gonna be glorious. We're gonna drink some slightly thawed orange juice.
Concentrate.
Yes, with some a varying array of doneness on cooked pancakes and sausage links, and I couldn't be more excited. I hope the mariachi band's there again because I haven't been there in a long time, but I'll never forget. I think one of the first times I went, the mariachi band was there, and then I hadn't seen him since. So here's hoping. What are y'all's plans?
So Samantha's sister and her family are coming into town. For whatever reason, I guess some of the Lubbock kids have off this weekend, like Friday, Monday, Thursday, Friday.
It's a 4-day weekend. We're in the same boat.
So they have like a school program on Thursday that one of their children are performing in. So they're heading to San Antonio Thursday, and they'll drive down the rest of the way Friday. Our two boys are out of school on Friday, so Samantha's going to take off the day on Friday. Kind of host them. I've got so much going on, I wouldn't be able to take it off. And then found out daycare is closed on Monday, so it's like, well, I'll take Monday off or try to juggle that with Samantha. And but okay. Anyways, so they're coming into town, and our church is hosting like okay, it's gonna sound weird. Growing up, the youth program, they have like youth dances, like what you would think, just gathering for kids to have a dance. But they're doing an adult dance, which is more of a like out of nostalgia, but like, hey, it's kind of fun to do this. So we used to do this as kids. But like, it's not a family dance in the sense that like you need to find arrangements for your kids, and not like it's going to be inappropriate. I realize saying it's like adults only is like eyebrows are raising. It's not that kind of dance or adult party. But anyways, so we're gonna have dinner, double date with her sister and her husband. And then the four of us will be going to a Valentine's dance. So
well, that is very interesting.
Saturday night. And then they'll be back on the road, I believe, Sunday, going back to Lubbock, and we'll be gearing up for our youngest to have Monday off. Anywho's, that's it for us. We had typically done like the stay in and do like steak and lobster tail, and we may have to save that for birthday. I think we're also going to try to celebrate birthdays together while we're here in town. Samantha and her sister are a week apart in birthdays. Well, a week in like 3 years, but on the calendar they're a week apart. And they shared birthdays a lot growing up, and they were like, "How fun would it be to do it again?" And Samantha's like, "I don't know how we consider it fun, but yeah, well, we can do it while you're here in town."
Convenient. It is
Um,
convenient.
So I guess we'll 3 birds, 1 stone here. Birthdays and Valentine's Day this weekend.
How about
Um,
that?
And then Samantha and I will actually do her birthday later, but it's a good thing because I've not started shopping for birthday presents. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll save the steak and lobster for that time. Um,
I
I have
know.
all
I
this
kind of
easy
offered.
stuff, but
Yeah, I kind of offered to cook a steak dinner for the three of us on Saturday night, and then the pancake thing came up, and we're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do that." And I selfishly thought that's perfect because Tech plays at 5:30 that night, and I'm not sure.
I'm
I
not
haven't
gonna
said
watch
that
the
out
game.
loud to anyone until right now, but I was like, if I'm around, I would like to watch it, but uh, I'm not gonna, cancel something to watch it. But it looks like it just might work out, Spencer. I might be able to be in front of a TV to see them take on Arizona.
Yeah. All right. This is a follow up to last week. You would drop this on here and wanted to you really were giving me time to think about it, but you posed a question when we retire, what hobby or activity do you think we would like to pick up? I have an answer,
Me too.
and I don't know if it's like if even I would wait like if this is a retirement specific activity or just something I would like to do at some point in my life. But I have something. But you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Well, I can go first. It's simple. 3 words: remote control airplanes.
Okay.
So we were in Denver this summer, and there was this great little park area we were close to that we wanted to go hike, and they had kind of a man-made beach built there, so we could play in the sand and get our feet in the water and all that. So that was a lot of fun. And while we were there was this area sectioned off that was, model airplane airfield. And I thought, oh, well, I need to check this out. And sure enough, you roll up there, they had runways, they had stuff roped off, to where you're not just you're you unless you're out there with the plane, you do not need to be out there, and that makes sense. It was free. It's not like there was anything else going on. And there was a lot of these guys of a certain age with all their stuff, and they're getting all their planes out, and some of them are gas powered and some are electric, and they're like painting them a little bit, doing a little work on them, and then getting them out and running them around and flying. And I was just that was when it finally hit me because I'd seen that before, and I thought, okay, if this would keep me from taking up golf, I'll just do this instead. And see, and I could still be social. I could make some friends, and then I could have like a kick-ass B1 or something. Did you notice that the B1 was part of the flyover at the Super Bowl?
No, we ended up turning it
I
on
missed
like
kickoff. I saw it later. I was kicking myself.
we almost missed kickoff. Like we actually turned it on right as they were kicking it off. We missed all the pregame stuff. We missed the anthem and all that kind of stuff. Missed the flyover. So I didn't notice the B1.
Oh yeah, it was. I forgot what it was flanked by, but it was the B1 and I think 3 planes on each side of it. So
Wow, it's a
cool.
big one.
Yeah, it was. It was a fleet. So anyway, that's. I thought of that a long time ago, and I never thought to ask you it. So what hobby would you pick up?
I've got 2 options here. And they're not okay. One is new, one is like I would want to get back into it. In a retirement sense, like so one would be fishing. Um and I haven't like it's been a long time since I've lived somewhere where you could like reliably go out and go fishing and actually enjoy it and have some success. I could probably do it now, but like it's so different than the fishing I learned growing up. When I was growing up, I was fishing for crappie, bass, catfish, right? Like fairly simple, like straightforward. I have no idea what the species are here that you could go fish for easily. I don't know what the tackle or the approaches are. Like, I have no capacity to try to pick any of that up yet. I want to go just bass fishing and just get to regular lakes. I would love to have a boat. Again, it's not something I have to like. I have to be a certain age to go do this, but you need a lot of time to one go fishing as much as I would want to do, and to try to keep up with the boat. And that's going to be only possible without 3 little ones running around. The other one I think would be like woodworking, and not like whittling, but like doing small projects. I don't mean like building shelves or tables, but like small things, cutting boards and smaller type of projects. Again, not something I have to be a certain age to do. Something I would like to do, but again, don't have the time or resources to get into collecting all of the tools or equipment and learn all the things and cut off half my fingers.
You
So
still need those. Those are the money makers.
yeah. So all right.
Well, I like it. Those are good because those are like useful skills. Mine's not so much a useful skill.
Well,
Fishing and woodworking, that's like
fishing.
like sustained our societies for millennia.
Sure. And this fishing would not be like, this would be just for sport, for entertainment, not
Sure.
for eating. The woodworking, I guess you could do it for supporting a family, but like at retirement age, it's just going to be keeping myself busy.
There you go.
The other thing, going back to your airplane, I don't know if I've told you this or if I shared this story. My grandfather, on my mom's side, so my mom's dad, he retired. He was into building balsa wood airplane models. Now he grew up when he got into it. Like he grew up building them to fly, and like he'd make them up and decorate them and paint them and all that kind of stuff. But he would fly them like to crash into other planes. Like he and his friends and all that kind of stuff, they would make it. The ones that he was building when I knew him building these things, he would build them to set up on a shelf and show them off. He would leave them, like if he did the paper on the wings on the body, he would just leave it as the paper. He wouldn't paint it, so you could still see the frame on the inside. But he didn't paper all the frames. He very much enjoyed the process of building it and then being able to see the frame of these models. So he was very meticulous and detailed in putting these together. He had the plans and did it like where he would soak it and be able to bend it, and he pinned all the right stuff and glue. It was very much I do this to take time, and then to enjoy the finished project. And he would sit there and play with them, and not like fly them, but like he would wind up the propellers because they had big rubber bands in the inside. He'd wind them up and like let it go so the propeller would spin, but he would hold on to it, play with them. He'd show them off for hours to all of his grandkids. The nostalgia for me to go talk to Joe, and we called him Joe, about his World War II balsa wood model airplanes. So, all right. I mentioned this earlier. Michael, you went to a Spurs Mavericks game. I'm going to a Rockets game tomorrow night. Getting into looking at the standings, all that kind of stuff, trying to figure out what the Rockets are. I was looking, okay, they're in the Southwest Division of the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Dallas, like Mavericks, Houston, Memphis, New Orleans, and the Spurs. I was like, that didn't sit right with me. So then I was trying to figure out, like, okay, how does this work out? So they have 30 teams. And with Eastern Western conferences, they're evenly divided. So there's 15 in each. And there are 3 divisions. So about as like evenly as you can split it up. But like 3 5-team divisions in each conference. There's too many odd numbers here. I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. And I don't like the geographic alignment. So if I were to play NBA realignment, knowing I'm gonna really tick off a lot of NBA fans. San Antonio or Memphis being in a Western Conference makes no sense. I would bump one of those two teams to the East, and then I'd have to take in a team from the East back to the West, and the one that makes the most sense would be Milwaukee. And I don't know if there's enough geographical tie into those rivalries, if that's going to break up and like create some kind of weirdness. But I'd take the Bucks into the West. Does it make a whole lot of sense? No, but it makes more sense than the other people, Memphis or New Orleans. So I'd bump one of those out to the East. And I'm not going to go with like team by team, like realigning all these divisions because I have other scenarios I want to talk through. But essentially, it would work out to where I'm moving the Oklahoma City Thunder out of the Northwest Division, because make that make sense, into the Southwest. So essentially, you're going to get the Thunder, the Mavericks, the Rockets, the Spurs, and one of the Grizzlies or the Pelicans together. You would then be putting the Bucks into the Northwest. Naming wise, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but that's where they fit better. They don't fit into the Pacific. I don't love that. I actually love adding two teams, getting to 32. I know, and I'm not like, these aren't like novel ideas about expansion teams. Like everybody's expanding into Las Vegas, and then everybody's talking about putting a team back into Seattle. Sure, do that. I'm just saying two teams. If you want to do Seattle and Las Vegas, here's how I would break it up. Okay. You'd have Seattle, Portland, and the two North California teams be the Pacific Northwest division. Then you get the Lakers, Clippers, Suns, and the casinos from Las Vegas. They could be the Southwest. So sorry, you get into 4 divisions of 4 teams in each conference. That makes a lot more sense to me. Then you get like the Central Western division of Utah, the Nuggets, the Thunder, and this is the Timberwolves because they're furthest west than the Bucks. But however you want to divide out that seemed to be, sorry, yes, the Timberwolves. That, not what I said earlier about the Bucks. The Timberwolves makes a lot more sense. But anyways, and then for the other division, it's the Mavericks, the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Pelicans. And then for the East, I'd move Memphis over. You'd get the Bucks, Chicago, the Pacers, and Memphis together. You'd get the Hornets, the Hawks, the Magic, the Heat together. You'd get why am I blanking? The Raptors, the Cavs, the Wizards, and the Pistons. And then the Northeast teams, they would all stay together. There were a handful of team groupings I never wanted to break up. One of them being the 4 in the Northeast, the Knicks, the Nets, the Celtics, and the, why am I blanking
Sixers.
on the Sixers? Those all 4 all stayed together no matter what I did because I liked that grouping. The other one I liked is creating a true Southwest, is having Utah, Colorado, Las Vegas, and the Suns all together. What that would do is you put all the California teams together. It really messes up with the north of this division, be Seattle, Portland, Bucks, and the Timberwolves. I loved putting the Thunder, Mavericks, Spurs, and Rockets back together.
Yeah, that feels very vintage Big 12 or Southwest Conference or something.
Outside of the North one here, all of this has a very strong regional tie. The Southeast is going to be New Orleans, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami. Then you get like Memphis, Indiana, Charlotte, Washington. You get the Northeast teams, and then you get the Bulls, Pistons, Cavaliers, and Raptors. Of the 8 divisions, 7 make a lot of sense. And then the wildest one here, I said, okay, Portland is throwing us off. Portland, Seattle. So like if we didn't do the expansion into Seattle and we moved Portland,
Oh my gosh.
stay with me here. It doesn't matter which team is moved
Every
where.
scenario you have
is
is like league changing requirements. Complete not insane. I don't want to say insane, but
this one has the strongest geographical tie. As if the expansion slash
NBA expansion teams wasn't
it the Thunder?
No, they moved from Seattle. They were the Supersonics.
Well, okay. I don't know.
Okay. 2004 Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah. Well, where are they now? Because the Charlotte
they're now the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, geography makes a whole lot of sense to me. So you got the 2 expansion and you move Portland. It doesn't matter where Portland goes, but you've got Kansas just won. Sorry. Arizona. So you've got Las Vegas. The locations of these, I know that St. Louis had a team like 50 years ago and it didn't work out, and they're probably wouldn't ever get a team, but like geographically it makes a lot of sense. They've got professional teams in the other leagues. Nashville seems to be a hot spot to be trying to add teams. Again, geographic ties here. You get the California teams in a division. You get the true Southwest teams in a division, Utah, Colorado, Spurs, and Las Vegas. You keep Thunder, Mavs, Spurs, Thunder, Mavs. I said Spurs. I meant Suns.
Yeah.
With the Southwest. Thunder, Mavs, Spurs, Rockets. You get the 2 expansion teams, Memphis and New Orleans together. You get the Southeast of Charlotte, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami together. You get the Northeast teams, like I said, never broke up. The Raptors, Wizards, Cavs, Pistons, and the Timberwolves, Bucks, Bulls, and Pacers. So the smallest geographical areas, but it requires the biggest shifts in the landscape. And that is assuming you still want to stick with the East-West stuff. You could say, forget that and do AFC, NFC style. Like it doesn't matter. You just have 2 leagues and geography doesn't really matter. In the conference affiliation, I wasn't going to break into that, but playing NBA realignment, spin the wheel here. I liked it. All of these make more sense than New Orleans and Memphis being in the Southwest of anything.
Yeah, as long as you just have, 2 expansion teams and or Portland moves to somewhere else and you get 2 expansion teams, then it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Well, the first one of just realigning and switching Memphis and Minnesota, you flip their conference affiliations. One goes east, one goes west. Then you can get a much better geographical tie. That doesn't really matter. I get that. Anyways.
Well, I think Memphis is in the West because they used to be the Vancouver Grizzlies. They moved over. That was one of the expansion teams. I think them and the Raptors expanded. So they had 2 Canadian teams, there for a while. And then the Vancouver Grizzlies moved to Memphis at some point. So early 2000s or mid, I don't know. I just remember that Gasol guy. Not Pal's brother. What was his name? Chuck? Jim Gasol? Frederick?
Mark
Gasol. There you go.
With a C. Speaking of expansion, Michael, I'm sure you saw this, but North Dakota State joining
Yeah.
the FBS and the Mountain West.
I'm kind of sad. It doesn't feel right. Does it feel right to you?
Not the Mountain West. Like it feels weird. Like I don't know if they'd fit the MAC better.
Talk about
Geographically.
geographical. You just went 30 minutes on geography, and you're trying to get a team to play in something called the Mid-Atlantic Conference when they border Canada.
Okay, but like the MAC has teams in the Midwest.
Is
You
North
got
Dakota the
Akron.
Midwest? I feel like it's its own thing.
No, it's not. But it is more mountain. It is more mountainous. I don't know. I don't think they're mountainous. I think they're plains.
Was that not where Mount Rushmore is, or is that South Dakota?
That's South Dakota, and that's like the
No.
far west end, like up against Wyoming. Anyways, joining the Mountain West very soon for 2026, and they are paying out all of their savings, 17 million total, making this move. 5 million to the NCAA for the move up to the FBS, which I think is just astronomical. Why? And 12 million to the Mountain West. So, welcome to FBS and G5 football, North Dakota State.
Yeah, I mean, it's just imagine paying $12 million to play Grand Canyon.
Utah State.
Yeah.
They used to pay you, and now you're paying them. All right, let's wrap this up. What did we learn, Michael?
Let's do it.
All right, so we've talked about it. Spurs, Mavericks. You were in the building.
I was there.
You made the trip to San Antonio. You were just 2 short hours from 23 Personnel South. How was the game?
We should have just kept going.
Extend the road trip, man. It's
You know
4
what?
hours,
Just skip the game. Skip the game. I gotta go see my guy. See what he's up to. No, I got to attend the Spurs Mavs game. Spurs won 138 to 125. This is only the second game I've gotten to go to. I got to see them beat LeBron's Heat in 2011 in a very
been a minute.
similar outing. Yeah, it was in that game. I thought that game was insane until I watched this one. I think that game ended 125 to 97, something like that. And Spurs shot 17 threes or made 17 threes. Bonner had was like 6 of 7. It was just nuts. And then this game happened. Wembanyama really didn't play a whole lot.
Oh, that sucks.
Cooper Flag was it was okay because they were playing super well. So Cooper Flag was just kind of shut down. He didn't really play much either. He and Wembanyama had the same amount of minutes or close to it.
Well, that's why Spurs won, because Flag.
Yeah, Flag's sure that was it. So Flag had 26 minutes. Wemby had 27. But
that's not nothing. I thought they played a whole lot less than that. That's a decent amount of minutes.
It is. I mean, but it was just less than you would think because they weren't in foul trouble or anything. There wasn't really a reason to pull them aside from maybe rest, or I'm not sure what the plan was there. But I could see with the Spurs, the plan was just to let Vassell and Castle cook because Stephon Castle came in, brother, 32 minutes, triple-double, 40 points, 15 of 19 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 7 of 10 from the free throw line. He had 12 rebounds. He had 12 assists. He recorded something in every category. He had 3 steals. He had a block. The man was all over the place. And Vassell had, let's see, he had 17 points. Wemby had a pedestrian 16 points. And he had a double-double on his own. 16 points and 11 rebounds in 27 minutes. Yawn. Big deal. 3 blocks. Good night. Anyway, it was just fun. And what was crazy is it's not like the Mavs played bad. Thompson came out and got hot. He had 19 points off the bench. But then he got a little bit cold. He was 4 of 10 from 3, and I'm pretty sure he made like 3 of 4 at one point, and then just slung it every other chance he got and had a couple of bad turnovers. But it was really fun to watch that game. It was, gosh, what was it? 80 something to 77 at halftime, brother. 81,
Something like that.
81 to 77.
I was gearing up to fire off a text message when the Mavericks tied it. I was like, here we go. And I didn't. And then I kept checking back. I was like, oh my gosh, they're down by 25. Like I'm so glad I didn't say anything. It felt real dumb.
Yeah, it piled on quite a bit here and there, but I mean, to credit the Mavs, they shot 44% from the field, 41% from three. I mean, the Spurs were 40% from three, but 56% from the field. So that was kind of a big difference maker there. But yeah, it was just they wouldn't quite let them really run away with it. But it was nice that I think the last 4 minutes they put in five guys I'd never heard of, except for Sochan or whatever his name is. I knew who he was. But the rest of the guys, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Not very familiar with Jordan McLaughlin's work on the Spurs, but it was a great experience. It was a quote unquote guys trip because my buddy has a 10-year-old son, and he was determined to get to a Spurs game at some point, and he and I'd been talking about it for like a decade plus, and he was like, okay, the two of us are going. You want to tag along on the guys trip? And I was like, yes, please. That sounds great. So I got to just ride in the car and be escorted everywhere and get to sit next to this 10-year-old kid who was into it, my friend. Like sitting on the edge of his seat the whole time, seeing stuff happen before the crowd would react, Um, to him, you couldn't tell if the Spurs were up by 10 or down by 10 or the game was tied. He was just every possession, man. He was into it. So that was a blast. I love to see it. I was bragging about him to my buddy, and he was like, "Man, I'm glad the Spurs were up because we'll take him to a Tech game and Tech will be down, like 4-0." And he's already saying stuff like, "Oh my gosh, are we going to lose?" So he said, "Yeah, so you got to see the good side of it tonight." And I said, "Well, I can relate to all sides of it." So anyway, great experience, a lot of fun. It was a 5 o'clock game too, so it was perfect to not, we weren't exhausted or anything afterwards, and did some shopping around, found some merch. Didn't find a hat I liked though. That's too bad. I'll just stick with the 23 personnel hat.
There you go. So I'm going to the Rockets game tomorrow night. They're hosting the Clippers. Recently without James Harden. That would have been fun. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden.
Yeah, it just went to the Cavs. That's crazy.
So they'll have Leonard, assuming he's playing. I haven't checked on his health or status, but
you never know. It's fine. I'm not hurt. I'm not sore about it.
A couple of like big names and a bunch of guys I've never heard of, but making millions of dollars to play professional basketball. But I'm looking forward to it. Not that anybody cares, but like I have to figure out, like, I'm flying tomorrow into Houston, and then I'm going into our corporate offices, and then from there we're going to the games. Like, explain to me how I'm supposed to dress. A day where I'm working in my office in the morning, flying. Granted, it's like a 35-minute flight, hour, gate to gate. And then working a couple hours in the corporate offices with the big bosses. And then driving over to the game into our corporate suite.
Just wear your Space City tie. I know you've got one.
I don't have any Rockets gear. We're not a tie organization. I could change, but like into what? Texas Tech stuff. It's red and black.
Yeah.
Anyways, the other thing I want to touch on, Hayden, our 5-year-old, lost his first tooth this week.
Oh, that's a big day.
Well, here's the thing, Michael. We went to go pick him up from martial arts, his after school program. And they're like, hey, he lost a tooth today. I was like, I don't remember him having a loose tooth. Like, oh, well, here's what happened.
He had one very briefly.
He did. He got hit in the face with a ball and his mouth was bleeding. And he went to the bathroom and came back with his tooth. I was like, you sent him into the bathroom with a loose tooth. A 5-year-old had no idea what was going on. I guess he was drinking from a bottle or something. And the ball hit the bottle and it luckily we're lucky here. No other teeth were damaged. This tooth wasn't broken. The root and everything came out, as of course one of his top front teeth, which are one of the first ones to be lost anyways. But his very first tooth to lose, knocked out.
Very, very memorable way to lose your first tooth. Wow.
For all of us. Okay, so
yes.
Grayson's first tooth he lost, he did it very quietly, and so we knew it was loose. And then one morning, driving him to drop him off at kindergarten, gets out. He's like, here you go, Dad, and hands me a tooth. He pulled it himself quietly, didn't say a thing, in the back seat of the car on the way to school drop off. And we're like, what? Go have a good day, I guess. And this when we come home, an envelope from the martial arts dojo. Here you go. Here's his tooth. Like, he didn't come here with a loose tooth. Oh, by the way, he got hit in the face.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's fine.
He was a trooper. His mouth was sore and a little swollen. So like his first night, he was talking like this a little bit, and we were just like, "Do we take him anywhere? No. Does he have to go to the dentist? Like, no, because like the tooth wasn't broken." And then I was trying to kick in. I was like, okay, well, from the time that like you lose a full tooth, you probably don't need to be drinking from a straw and keep an eye on it, make sure like it's not infected or sore or changing weird colors or smelling or whatever. And it's like, it seems to be healed. Just got a gap now, which is to be expected for a 5-year-old.
Would have happened eventually. Yeah.
It's like, well, being that this didn't come out on its own, like it may be a gap for a while, but yeah, lost his first tooth, had it knocked out. He was excited to tell people about he lost his first tooth. He wasn't.
Oh, I bet.
He wasn't boohooing anything. He's a tough little dude. So lost his first tooth.
I figured that you had that in the notes, and I was not expecting this story.
Knocked out at martial arts.
Well, speaking of our kids' athletics, the Court Queens, your favorite first and second grade basketball team, got their first dub in yet another one possession game. They've played 4 games. Every game has been decided by 1 or 2 points.
It's wild.
And this was no different, but our girls ended up on top. And of course, it was the day I was traveling to the Spurs game, so I missed it. But I've got a chance tomorrow to be there, and hopefully we'll get to see another dub. But yeah, I think the score was 11-10. So really, honestly, if you've played 4 games in a league and every game has ended in a bucket or less, good job, everybody.
You're right
good
there.
Job drafting. Yeah. Well, and just good job. It's good parity. It's good parity. It's good for the league. It's good for the girls. It's a very well-run league, like I said. Just extremely happy with it so far.
Well, the Court Queens are going to have to carry our youth sports talking segment. The boys are not playing baseball this year. I think Hayden wanted to play this year. And we probably could have figured it out, but I was like, Lubbock was very much a little league and then U-Trip town. But like here it's little league, Dixie, Pony. It's like everything. I was like, oh man, I don't want to like wait and trying to figure out which one. And he's 5. Like if he wants to play baseball, like we'll make sure he gets back into it. He wasn't his interest and his focus wasn't quite there last year. I was like, it's not the end of the world if he skips a year. It's also not the end of the world if he doesn't play baseball. I loved baseball. I would love for him to play, but like, you know, it's a lot more fun when the kids are into it. And 5-year-old T-ball is not really. And then with our schedule, like most days we're like racing to get home by 6 o'clock. Most practices would be over by then.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, so it's like, yeah, we're gonna miss it, but then we're also not gonna miss it.
I completely get it. I think we allowed her to make the decision, but when it came time to sign up again for soccer, which she did sign up for, she was a little hesitant. And I have to admit, Spencer, part of me was like, oh, that would be nice if if we skipped soccer this season. But
Yeah.
we're back. We're back in. So that will be kicking off probably right when basketball ends. So we'll go from the Court Queens to the Queen Bees and be back at Burl Huffman and really be missing the not carrying of chairs and driving on caliche and walking in mud and all of the things that are good about basketball.
But so
You
that's
just
one of the
park in a
like,
parking lot and you walk in and you
Mhm.
sit in a seat that you didn't have to bring. There's a
no weather.
there's a water fountain. There's an actual place to pee. If you want to pee, you can go do that. You can buy a water bottle over there. There's a little thing. Man, it's like it's luxury is what it is. It's just absolute luxury. No wind, no sun.
No elements. You get AC when it's hot, heater
Yeah.
when it's cold.
Well, okay, that's questionable. a little chilly in some of these gyms, but that's fine. I'm built different. I can handle that.
It warms up throughout the state.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, I'm not looking forward to the days of, well, is the game going to be called because it's too windy or not? I don't know.
The
I'm
40
not
40
sure.
40 rule.
Ooh. Oh, it's lightning. Oh, it's hailing. Let's
Oh,
just
you
wait in
gotta
our
do, like,
car for 45 minutes and then let's call the game. Great. Sounds good.
makeup games have to come back on a Sunday. I don't want to play on Sundays. And
Or a Tuesday night. Just
well, our games were Tuesday, Saturdays. That was our normal schedule. But like, well, it depended on the division because you couldn't have everybody out there. But like, anyways, Sundays and Wednesdays were usually left open. Wednesday nights for church and Sunday for church. But also like there were enough crossover, like teams were playing in multiple leagues and the U-Trip leagues, like their big days were Sunday. So like, you didn't want to, like, the fields were busy, but also you didn't want to make kids have to choose one. Like, okay, one team is going to be without half their kids because they're playing on a different team. But like when you got like had a makeup game on Sunday, you're like, this is the worst, man. I would have rather be anywhere else than here making up a modified T-ball game at 10 o'clock on a Sunday. Luckily, we didn't have to do that.
I know. We've really been fortunate with the makeup games too. And as much as I was complaining about it earlier, a Tuesday night game at 6 or 6:30, there are maybe 3 teams or 3 games going instead of 30. So traffic is non-existent. It's a pleasant experience. The whistle you hear is actually for the game you're watching. You're not just hearing whistles and like wondering why the kids aren't stopping, and then also wondering, well, how do they know that? Anyway. So, as annoying as it is, it's good. There are definitely positives of going to Burl Huffman when it's not just completely packed and insane with traffic and kids and dirt flying everywhere.
Yeah. I've not been doing any kind of halfway decent job keeping up with comments. We had Skiing Scarlet in the comments. Tom Trex has been in there. My apologies for not keeping up.
Oh my gosh. Spencer, what are you doing?
Failing. Thank you very much for being as active you guys have been in the comments. I'll be better, I promise. But that's going to do it for us. I've got a pack. I'm going to be gone all of 24 hours, and I'm going to have 14 outfits. I don't know. I don't know how to handle this, man. I'm going to go figure it out. But that's going to do it for us in the 23 Personal Podcast. We will be back next week. It's going to be a longer break between episodes because we recorded early. Back probably Tuesday night. Handful of games to recap, preview, baseball, all that kind of stuff. That's Michael. I'm Spencer. See you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LVK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.